Hello, everybody, and welcome to a brand new episode of Internet Friends. In this episode, we fight one of our dads, and the answer might surprise you.
More a 10.
Yeah. So, how's everybody doing?
All right. I tripped while walking Bo and sprained the hell out of my ankle.
Oh no.
I actually tripped myself up last week on my ankle, so I've been icing and compressing it too. So we just all have bad ankles here. You know, I think that's part of being in your 30s, is that, like, your ankles just suck now.
I'm good, but thank you.
I'm sure you'll have
You
a pole
exercise.
Dancing. I was about to say,
we don't.
I do. Brie's just gonna have a pole dancing accident, right?
Please don't. Please. Listen, I'm trying to recover from my shoulder injury from 4 years ago. Don't wish that on me.
Don't you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby.
Please no.
But that also, since I was off my ankle all week, I got to try Breath of the Wild again, and I was wrong. It's a really good game, and I'm sorry about everything I said.
I mean, everything you said last time was that it was a good game, but what I'm hearing you say is that you actually like it now that you've played it a little bit longer.
Yeah, now that I played it the way it wants to be played, which is not rushing through the story, it's really good, and I enjoyed it a lot.
What once you finally, like, let go of, like, I just need to rush through and do thing, and, like, I'm just gonna run straight into danger every single time, and you're just like, oh no, if I just kind of muck about and just do random stuff and discover different things, it's like, oh no, like, this is actually awesome and great, but, like, you have to get into that mindset.
Yeah.
Brie, did you do any more playing of it, or have you been playing something else?
Yeah, no, I was playing a point and click game that that's really depressing. It's called When the Past Was Around, and you could check it out on my other podcast at some point. We're going to talk about it. It's all about grief and losing your partner and going through your memories together. It's very sad. I cried my fucking eyes out, but it's a really good game.
Noticing a theme here.
Yes.
All right, well, speaking of Brie stuff, she was in charge of Homer this week, so for this week we were watching Nimona show on Netflix. I did a little bit of research on it, or I was listening to another podcast and they started talking about it. Apparently it's based off of an old webcomic that then got adapted to a book that then got adapted to this movie.
Correct.
So, pretty interesting, and so since this is Brie's homework assignment, we'll go ahead and let her take it away.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, I believe the original author is N.D. Stevenson, and same person who did She-Ra. And I think you can definitely see some of the fingerprints all over, like Nimona. And yeah, this is one of those, like, it's been on my list for forever, because a lot of podcasts I listen to have talked about it and, like, how important it is. That's the kind of term they kept using, that this movie is an important movie. Yeah, just like a really quick synopsis. It's basically, God, I don't even know how to summarize this because it's such a kind of complicated and very interesting mix of genres. Yeah, I don't even know if I could summarize it, but I will say just right off the bat, when I first started watching it, I didn't think I was going to like it. I was like, oh shit, I think this was a mistake. Maybe I shouldn't have suggested this, because it is, Nimona's kind of annoying, a little bit.
I didn't think she was the most annoying.
No.
No?
Not even close.
No.
Really?
The character that was like, their whole identity was the, well, that happened style dialogue. That was the person I hated. But they were only in it for like 5 minutes total.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very limited screen time on that one.
Yeah, I think that felt a little more of like, oh, this is intended for children, with some of that humor. But like, I think overall, I thought the movie was gorgeous. The ending made me cry my fucking eyes out. I thought it was just like the art direction, and I don't even know where to start with this, honestly. Like the representation in it, of course. It was very unexpected, especially in the beginning, because I knew something bad was going to happen, but I couldn't figure out what bad thing was going to happen, and that was not what I anticipated happening. Like a chill, cool little assassination. And also a quick sidebar on that, because I'm going to forget about it, but the voice actress for the Queen, who dies really quickly in this movie, is the same voice actress as, oh my gosh, she's Shadow Weaver from She-Ra.
Yeah, I recognize.
Which was very difficult for me to like
And she's been a voice for a lot of stuff. Like, she's a very recognizable voice actor at this point.
100%. I think it's just because I watched She-Ra recently, obviously with all of you, and I'm just like, God, she just has like an evil sounding voice. I just can't. I'm like, this queen's fucking evil, but not the case. So, but yeah, I thought it was really good. I thought it was really adorable. Again, I think it shows a lot of representation in a lot of different ways, especially having a openly gay main character and nobody really caring about it, which is super cool. Yeah, I loved it. I'm interested to hear what you guys think.
I really liked it. Two things that really surprised me were the Gold Guns Girls, a Metric song showing up at one point. It's one of my favorite songs by Metric, and I was like, what? And then also the Banana Splits.
Emily had a similar reaction when they started playing Dolly Rots. She lost her mind as soon as she realized they were playing Dolly Rots, that we had to pause it and like let her come down from her freak out.
That's awesome. I also wasn't expecting the Banana Splits theme song to play over the Dragon cereal commercial. That was real surprising for me.
Yeah, very interesting music selection, to say the least. I watched this with Emily. Believe it or not, Emily had actually tried watching it previously and, got a few minutes and stopped and was like, I have to watch this with Aaron, like, at a certain point. I think that she had just gotten to the part where, they're breaking out of prison for the first time. Mm-hmm. And that was kind of where she was just like, no, Aaron needs to watch this. And yeah, no, like, this movie was just a lot of fun. It's, Nimona as a character, I know you found her a little bit annoying, as you said, Brie, but like, she's just that manic chaos energy character. We talked about last week, Brie, you mentioning how you never seen Deadpool. I was just like, well, if you liked Nimona, you might be okay with Deadpool because it's very similar manic, chaotic kind of energy,
So you wouldn't like Deadpool, is what he's saying.
Okay.
Possibly, depending on that. But no, I liked Nimona's character, but I'm kind of more into that. And Chloe Grace Moritz, who voices her, she's kind of born to play this kind of role. She's been doing it since she was Hit Girl on Kick-Ass, of just kind of like, just pure chaos energy kind of type characters. It's this was a very fun movie, but it also has a lot of heart where it counts. Mm-hmm. The soundtrack slaps, and there's a lot of stuff going on narratively in the film that is easy to pick up on. It's like, oh, okay, so we're doing the surveillance police state thing. Cool, got it. Mm-hmm. Also, me and Emily basically like instantly clocked. It's just kind of like, all right, the director's the bad guy. Didn't even take us 2 seconds. Just like, she did it.
I honestly thought when the beam came out of the sword, I was like, that's going to be revealed to be an accident. Like, nobody knew that the sword could do that, and he's just going to be blamed for this laser shooting out because powers or something. And I was wrong. I've been wrong a lot this week.
Yeah, I think the other thing that was kind of interesting, like, at the beginning of the movie, I wasn't sold on the animation style at the beginning because it's, like, very flat. And, the character models, and it seemed like they had a lot of detail to them, and the world seemed kind of generic. As the movie goes on, the animation, like, really opens up and gets really beautiful, and the stuff that they do with, like, lighting and color and, kind of the detail with the set pieces and that stuff. Basically, probably right around the time where they reveal Nimona's, like, shape-shifting powers is kind of where, like, oh, okay, I see where they're going with this.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no spoilers, but that giant bird at the end that she turns into is just phenomenally gorgeous to look at.
Oh, yeah. Her as a monster too is like that whole scene touching the heart. Like, I like that is stunning to look at. Like, the art direction again is just like the top seller for this. It is so beautiful.
And I'm kind of curious to see where if they wanted to do a sequel of this, what they would do with it at this point. I mean, this obviously can just be like its own condensed story at this point. But yeah, I'd like to see them try to kind of do more and play around in this world a little bit. I feel like there's a lot of things that can open up with it, and different stories that you can kind of tell with it. So it'd be interesting to see if they could go in a direction with that.
Yeah, and there's definitely. You don't want them to?
I don't think so. I think like this is such a the messaging in this is so powerful in terms of like not judging people and right. Especially not judging things that you don't understand, and just the general acceptance of just people in general. So I feel like I don't know if it could be as impactful if there was like a sequel or something, but maybe they could go a slightly different direction with that. So I think it is so solid as a standalone, though.
Yeah,
it is. It absolutely is.
Do you like it?
And yeah, I really liked it. I liked it a lot. I also liked the like Nimona's whole like thing with the main character, the guy character who I can't remember his name. But like she sought him out because she was like, "Oh, you're like me. You're being treated like a villain too, so we can be friends and like you understand me." And she was just longing for someone to get her and accept her, and not just see monster.
Yeah, and like the montage that they have of her kind of telling her like more origin early on story of like, you know, she's gone through life, shape-shifting, doing all that kind of stuff, and like, you know, every life form she's ever interacted with has been like, yeah, no thanks, we know you're not one of us. And like the moment she finally gets some semblance of acceptance, you know, it's just like it's taken away because again, her friend gets taught, it's like, no, you should hate her because she's different. And how, you know, kind of again going back to some of the theming a bit is how, like, you know, hating things for not understanding them seems to be a very learned skill, because it seems like children for the most part don't give a shit until they're told they're supposed to.
I will say for a kids movie, it's kind of it is interesting. Obviously they don't say this outright, but like the fact that she's mentioning like unaliving herself in terms of just like I can't find any community here. I think I'd be better off dead. I'm just like I don't know that this is necessarily intended for kids. I think it's like PG technically, but I'm just like
I was about to say it doesn't. I wouldn't say that this was necessarily a children, like maybe younger adults.
Yeah.
Like you know, 12 and up maybe. But I definitely don't know if I would like be having a 4-year-old watch this.
I think it'd be too heavy, honestly. I think it's just like I'm sure kids have watched it, and just in terms of like, it's animation. This must be for children.
There's always that thing, and that's the thing that's common in animation these days, where everybody's just kind of like, oh, you know, this is like, you know, people have that with, you know, Has-Been Hotel, where it's just kind of like, it's just like, this was not intended for children, and at no point do we say this, but it's a cartoon. It's like, cartoon does not equal for children. And it never has.
Definitely not. And yeah, I think this is rated PG if I'm not mistaken.
That's why I'm a pack-a-day smoker. Good old Winston's.
Thought you'd be a Newport man.
I was for a little while, actually.
I can't afford to smoke. I can't imagine.
But going back to the like suicide mentality or ideals of it, is that like when she becomes the monster, the big thing, and she's not really rampaging the town, she's heading to a point that will kill her intentionally.
No, that was the thing I pointed out. It was just like, you know, have you noticed that the people causing the most damage are the like jets and drones and stuff that they have shooting at her? She's just like walking down a road.
Yeah.
Just thought that was interesting.
It is.
A lot of relevant commentary of stuff going on in the world. Specifically when she turned the cannon around again in spoiler territory. It was just like that will kill half the people here. It's like, yeah, but it'll destroy the monster. It's just like, what the fuck are we doing?
I asked that question on the fucking daily. What the fuck are we doing?
Right? No, but even after she turns back to human and is on the sword with the guy character, the screens still read monster attacking. Like, they're still pushing that narrative, even though she's not.
No, there's a lot of stuff that's in there in terms of, like, again, propaganda. You know, there's xenophobia. There's a lot of stuff that's kind of being played up. I mentioned the police state and surveillance state aspects of it, too. It's just kind of like, it's just like, children's cereal and, like, specifically how they market to children and specifically influencing how they grow up and see the world. You know, all those kind of things play a very big factor in shaping the way that we think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's what made me more emotional watching it because I was like, oh my God, this is too it's too close to home,
It's just like,
unfortunately, in a lot of
this is
ways.
a little too real.
Yes, exactly. But I thought it did everything in a very tasteful way. And kind of to your point with the propaganda, like I found it very interesting because it's like there was two instances where they had like video evidence of a wrongdoing, and both times it didn't really do anything. So the first like camera got destroyed, and the second one they actually had her on recording and like obviously spoiler territory here, but they have on recording her admitting that she is the bad guy, the director, and same thing. She's like, "Oh, well, that actually wasn't me, though." So, and I'm just like, politicians do that shit all the time.
Again, a little too real. That's not me. That was a deep fake.
Yeah, exactly.
Fake news.
That's scary because that's going to be happening more and more, I think, IRL.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm surprised it's not happening as much currently, or at least we're still at a point where we can point out the obviously fake shit, but I don't know.
Yeah, I guess old people don't understand technology enough for that to work, but you know,
get off my lawn.
But they're old. They're gonna die soon. It's fine.
We've been saying that for 10 years, though. And they're still here. Because they're the only ones with money to afford healthcare.
That's a great fucking point.
We're not a political show, people.
No. But do you condemn giant monster shapeshifter?
No, I think giant monster shapeshifter, we need more of them.
Okay.
There should be a giant monster shapeshifter on every street corner.
This is socialism / communism, whichever one's worse, that's what that is. So
this is what the lefties want.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Giant shape-shifting monsters.
This is the reality the woke moralists want.
Yes.
There it is. This is where I wanted us to eventually get to. This is the energy that I was missing. We've all had a very long week, and we're all dealing with our own stresses, guys. But
100%.
But no, Nimona was a great movie. I highly recommend it. Yeah, just overall good movie, good messaging. Lots of fun. This was probably the most fun I've had watching a movie in a while. Just because the pacing and how like just fast pace everything is. It was just fun.
And it's kind of longer for animated too, because I feel like
it was just under 2 hours.
Yeah, exactly. I was planning to just like watch a little bit of it, and then I was like, okay, well, we're staying up late and watching this because it was so good and so engaging. I was like, okay, well, we're on this ride.
And it was also really funny.
Yeah,
like, I laughed a lot.
Yeah, no, the dialogue and the writing was really, really good. And again, that's why I was just like, yeah, this kind of reminds me of Deadpool and just like the very like chaotic nature of it.
Yeah. So good overall, would recommend to anybody if you are in the mood for it. It is definitely heavy towards the end, so if you're not in the mood for that, maybe not. But outside of that, like
I would say this is a good like Friday night, like stay in and watch type movie.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Well
worth it.
Exactly. Don't watch it on a Tuesday in the middle of work.
I think that's like exactly what I did.
See, I did the thing I was supposed to do. I watched it with my wife on a Friday night. Meanwhile, you're just doing data entry and you're just like, I'm just so sad. She just wanted to belong.
Numbers. What's wrong?
Also, I'm realizing you don't know what I do for work, but that's totally cool. I barely do, so.
It's just like, I mean, crying at work is normal at this point. If you're not crying, we're concerned.
That's true. Good point. Good. I'm glad you guys liked it. I thought it was. I'm very happy with it. I'm glad everyone enjoyed it. It was a good film. It's been on my list forever, so I'm glad I finally got to watch it.
Well, since today's episode
seems
to also be like going back to past homework assignments, there has been a new trailer drop for Arcane Season 2, and a reveal that this is going to be the last season of Arcane after 2 seasons.
Yes.
Which is surprising and also not surprising at the same time.
It's the right move, I think.
It is Netflix, for starters. They have talked about how like this is the end of this story, but they still may pull from other League of Legends characters to do future things. But also when you consider like it's taken 3 years just to get to Season 2 at this point, a lot of the development and work on it, and as long as they're getting to tell and finish the story that they wanted to tell, and they're not going to drag it out, I'm pretty much supportive of that. And again, like you said, Seth, like Netflix is known for basically not keeping things around really all that long, because it's just like, if you can't get new people on the platform, we're just going to get rid of it.
But like Brie said, in this case, it probably is the best decision if that's where your end point of the story is, to end it there and not drag it.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, it seems to be causing a lot of discussion online because, again, like, we've only gotten to see one season of it and to know that it's already over, even despite it being very critically well-received, audience well-received. Like, we don't get a lot of things that are so successful early on and then basically told, like, and it's done.
Yeah. I mean, I think given the story, like, I feel like the whole, like, crux of all of this is that, like, Jinx and V have to be on separate sides of this whole thing, and they are now, which the trailer does confirm a lot of stuff for us. So as in they are now in full opposition. Very interesting watching her be in a enforcer outfit.
Yeah, I thought that's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, because I believe her parents were killed by enforcers, if I'm not mistaken, outside of many people in her life, and also that which I think is fairly obvious that the council is indeed dead, because I wasn't sure if they were going to pull some sort of like magic, like, oh, actually they were wearing like, I don't know, like they could have pulled a bunch of things to be like, but they said the council is dead.
Yeah, they
had a portal gun and they zapped out at the last second.
They may have like one or two survivors like from the blast, but like, yeah, I think for the most part, like, there's going to be the big shakeup from the whole thing.
Yes.
It's going to be like the Queen Borg. It's just going to be a head with a metal spine dangling.
Oh, God. Graphic.
Yeah.
Yep. So, Arcane season 2 is going to be coming out in November. So, we'll definitely keep our eyes out for that. And I'm curious to see what they'll decide to do afterwards, because I don't. We've talked about how, like, the League of Legends basedness of the show is like almost irrelevant. And so I don't know if, like, trying to create another story with different League of Legends character is really necessarily going to work as well, unless you still have, like, a decent enough team who knows what they're doing. So, we'll see.
Yeah, I'm excited. It's going to be good. And as we mentioned earlier, I'm like, I don't think the story could have been any longer than it is. Like, it's just... I don't know. I'm glad that it's not going to be like, it's 6 seasons long. I was like, I can't imagine any of this story dragging out. Like, it's just 2 is perfect. I have utmost faith that they will continue as strongly as they have. And there's we might have talked about this before, but there is, I believe, Vander's going to come back, so that's kind of exciting. So, yes, as a different character.
Okay. Well. That's very interesting. Anyways, moving on to kind of other topics. It is now full-fledged summer, which means it's full-fledged video game announcement season. And there's been a lot of things.
E3 was last week.
Yeah, E3, or the ghost of E3 was last week.
Okay.
As I like to kind of call it.
It haunted us. It snuck in through my window going, ooh, video game.
Well, I mean, that's kind
That was dumb. I didn't like that.
It's fine. Stupid. It's totally fine. But no, there's, obviously a lot of stuff's getting announced. And, like, I kind of, like, brought up this on the doc. It's just like, is E3 being dead a good thing? Because I've had a lot of things that I've engaged with had this conversation. And, like, back in the day, it used to be like, everything that was video game news in this period of summer basically happened at E3. You got all the big announcements, people did their keynote speeches, everything could have been hands-on in one spot, and since E3 has died, thanks to COVID, it was kind of dying beforehand, but, that's when the fork was stuck in.
Yeah.
Everybody's kind of separated out and done their own things. There's Summer Games Fest that does a lot of stuff. There was, like, Guerrilla Games, which was a big indie announcement sort of conglomerate thing that went down. Ubisoft did their thing. Sony does their State of Play. Nintendo does Nintendo Direct. Xbox did their announcements last week. Just, it's all scattered now, though, and they kind of just do it on their own time, and it seems harder to track now because of it.
It is. And we're also not getting those like incredible moments of like a 299 moment or a like this is how you borrow games on PlayStation moment where they're like competing with each other based off of whose keynote is first and second.
Yeah.
You also aren't getting the president of Sony going, "I'm sorry about another data leak."
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, no, there's been a lot of conversations about that too. I think somebody was talking about I think Apple had their WWDC, which was like their big announcement thing, where they typically announce new stuff. And I remember somebody else talking about how like it was so much more fun when it was a stage like live performance with Steve Jobs up there. It's just like, and another thing, and like that we're actually using these pieces of technology in front of you, and like you could see actually what they do. And if they screw up, they screw up, but like at least you actually get confirmation that it's just like, oh, that thing works. Whereas
and you get cool moments like pulling a laptop out of a manila envelope.
Yeah.
You know, pulling an iPod Nano out of the tiny pocket.
Yeah. But now you have these things that are all pre-rendered, pre-recorded, edited, like went through as many levels of approval as they had to go to. You know, all the gameplay footage is like being rendered like at idealist most environments. You know, Xbox will run like the PC versions of their stuff on like state-of-the-art hardware and then say it's Xbox, even though it's just like that was not running like that on an Xbox. Just all just kind of one of those things.
I was noticing that with Doom when they like announced the new Doom. It was like it comes up all footage in game. I was like, yeah, it looks great there. It's not going to look like that when it's actually released.
Yeah, it's not going to look like that, especially on an Xbox. Like Doom's notoriously demanding.
Also, the one thing I wanted to say about Xbox is they gave us options by giving you a 1 terabyte digital only version of the console they're selling with a disk drive currently.
Yeah, I saw that.
Options.
Again,
it is an option, I suppose.
Again,
it's true.
As advertised.
Corporate tone deafness will never cease to amaze me, ever, in my life.
Right.
But one thing that was very exciting out of the Xbox announcements was more information on the upcoming Fable, which I know me and Brie are super hyped for.
Yes, I'm so fucking thrilled. We've talked about this before, but like, I don't know, I have such a soft spot for Fable. Even though I know not all the games were super good, but
One
like,
or two were good. 3, we just don't talk about 3.
You know, I think I still, I remember like that was like this is way back when it was a midnight release. I got to go get Fable 3. I was still in college at the time. I don't think I went to my classes the next day. Like I was so fucking hyped, and it was such a disappointing game. But like I still played it all the way through.
No,
like
so did I.
I just have such a soft spot for it. I'm so excited for it to be coming back. I will say just the comments from that, which I don't know why this fucking surprises me. It doesn't. Here's the thing. It doesn't. People were very mad because they were concerned that the main character is a woman and that you might not be able to create your own character. So
I would actually be 110% okay if I had no character creation in this.
100%. I don't fucking care. Like, just give me more Fable.
I mean, the first game didn't have that, and the first one's my favorite. You are this character. Mm-hmm. Like, they started introducing your ability to choose gender in 2 and 3. But for the most part, like, yeah, no, if I'm playing a girl, I'm playing a girl. Cool. Let's go.
Yeah. I don't care, but people, that was probably the biggest discourse I saw. Like in the comments, people were just like, "Wait, do I have to play as a girl though? Ew, icky, gross."
I mean, that's clockwork. You knew it was coming. Like,
yeah.
I want it to go away, but I know it won't, no matter how hard I try.
Nope, we're gonna always be.
It's exhausting. How like it's always the same.
Like, it's one of those things where it's just like I don't read comment sections for that exact reason. I was just like, I'm just watching this video and I am not going to look at anything anybody is saying below the fold at this point.
That is so smart. I need to stop doing that because I forget that I'm like my friend pointed this out to me before. She's like, "Well, do you ever leave comments?" And I was like, "Oh no, I don't."
No one gives a fuck what I think.
So the couple people who make the time to leave comments are probably shitheads with absolutely nothing better to do. So
if I don't have something that I think is funny to say on a video or like a TikTok or anything, I'm not saying anything.
Yeah.
TikTok has proven to me that I'm not as clever as I think I am, because I'll think of a joke, open up the comment section, and it's the very first
Everybody
one at the
has
top
already
is the
made
joke.
that joke, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I do love that sometimes though, because I'm like, it's the common humanity of it all. I was like, oh, we really are like the same people. We have the same experiences sometimes.
I was just like, it's like, I bet you if I open these comments, everybody's gonna be very horny right now, and yep.
There's one. There was some kind of filter, like a CAPTCHA, I think is the name of the app, but it like puts a helicopter over whatever you're filming for TikTok, and it's like looks like the helicopter's actually flying. There's been an Indian version of that for months, and this one guy does these like stupid, ridiculous edits with it. And when you open the and he always says the same dialogue. It's like, my life, my rules, my something. I don't remember it.
Oh,
but
yes.
You've seen it, okay? But when I open up every single one of these videos with like the American version of this filter, it's all just my life, my rules, my life. It's great. I love it.
That's not right.
No, but I'm super hyped, especially after seeing the trailer. We saw a good mix of gameplay as well as like whatever the pre-rendered cinematic aspect of it gives you a sense of what, you know, where they're going with the lore. I was curious to see if they were going to kind of like stay on like leaving off, or if they were going to maybe slightly different setting or something. It looks like it's going to be slightly different because they're not following like the same steampunk aesthetic that they started going down in the later games. They still have the dry British humor, which, you know, everybody loves good dry British humor.
Absolutely.
And not everybody loves steampunk. I am one of those people.
That is a very niche thing for sure.
Yeah.
I could go on a 30-minute rant about how much I hate 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. That is fuck that book. But I won't today.
It's just like, we'll expect your video essay on my desk by end of week.
Okay.
Perfect.
I don't need an entire chapter telling me what a fish looks like. I get it.
I mean, like, I will defend Fable 2 at least in the like steampunk aesthetic that they came up with. It wasn't like super ham-fisted. It was kind of more kind of like subtly mixed in because it was them going through their own industrial revolution at the time.
Yes. Yeah, I'm fucking hyped as hell. This definitely gives me more like original Fable vibes, like
yeah.
Which
absolutely. Which is what I want.
All for.
Yes,
I'm all for.
One's still my favorite. I understand that objectively Fable 2 is a better game than Fable 1, but Fable 1 is like, I have to say, probably nostalgia fact. That was like my first like M for mature like adult game I was ever allowed to play as a kid.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I have a very big soft spot for that game. So I'm very, very hyped for it.
I think mine was Zombies Ate My Neighbors, but that might just be rated teen.
Oh. That's a deep cut.
Yeah. Great game, though.
It's really good.
An older boy from down the street gave it to me. My parents didn't know.
Ooh.
I mean, that's how it typically goes. Like, what was the game that you had to go over to a friend's place to play? Like, your parents would never buy you that video game in a million years.
RoboCop versus Terminator.
Interesting.
That is so on brand.
Yeah, I saw you reposted the same footage of RoboCop last week.
I do it every time I watch the movie. It's my favorite bit that I do for myself.
That and 9/11.
Yes. But 9/11's for everyone.
I hate it here.
Emily now gets 9/11 jokes that she sends to me to send to you.
Nice.
And she's very upset about it. She's on the same page as Brie. She's just like, I don't want to be seeing these. Why am I seeing these?
Oh, Lord.
Oh, it's my fault.
That's who we blame, at least. No, I think Grand Theft Auto was the one I had to sneak over to a friend's house. That and Mortal Kombat.
Mortal Kombat for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's a good game, too.
Oh, yeah.
There's an arcade by me that has every single cabinet of every version of Mortal Kombat, and it is so cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
There's an arcade bar near me. Actually, I think we went to it after Comic-Con one year. Yeah.
Yeah, no, we went there.
I don't know if they had it at the time, but they had Michael Jackson's Moonwalker for the longest time there.
Wow, damn,
that was a great game. Yeah. He The point of the game, for people who don't know, is he goes around saving children.
Ooh, aged well, like a fine wine.
I forgot about that. I remember that game was on Cinematech on G4 back in the day. Like, if you were ever early.
Oh, really?
Yeah, whenever you were up early enough to watch Cinematech, which was basically all just video game cinematics or, like, old school retro games, I remember watching specifically the footage of that game and being like, were we okay with this?
Yeah.
It's a different time, different era.
Where were you when MJ died?
I was going to football practice.
Oh, really?
I remember I had just pulled up to my high school gym, and we had all just, like, found out.
Looking up when he died.
Okay.
That would have been 2010, 2011? Probably 2010?
It was 2009.
Okay, yes, that sounds about
Oh,
I was about to say,
I don't know.
it had to be 09, 010.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I was in high school.
I was on a church missions trip.
That tracks.
Love that for you.
Yep. And we weren't allowed to have our phones on while we were missioning. And so later in the day, when all of us turned our phones back on, there was just this mass amount of notifications that started flooding in. And we were all like, what just happened? And then somebody just goes, Michael Jackson's dead.
Emily also wants me to have my phone off when we're missioning. I'm not cutting that joke.
That was a good one. You shouldn't cut that.
Solid. That's solid.
It's just, you got Subway Surfers going. It's like planted right here on our chest.
It's like
Big, stop moving.
Yeah, it's like the Minecraft parkour is going on, like, down here.
Hey, I hear that's how Gen Z does it.
And then it's just AI, like, robot audio as, like, just in the background.
Gorgeous. Love it.
Oh, God. So is there anything else we want to talk about for the show? I think we've covered everything we have on the dock.
Is anybody watching the Arcadile? The Acolyte? What the Star Wars?
Oh, the Star Wars thing. I'm still on Star Wars hiatus. I haven't even, like, finished. I only watched, like, the first 3 episodes of Andor. I watched the first 2 episodes of Ahsoka. Like, I'm just kind of so burnt out on Star Wars. And I've been seeing, like, the reviews and people talking about it. It seems like, again, it's another thing where everybody's split on it. You have people who think it's the greatest thing ever, and then you have everything that people are just bitching about. So,
Like Star Wars, I don't think.
yeah. I heard that people have, like, reignited the no fire in space argument about things, and, like, because apparently there's a space battle, and so, like, the fire in space thing came up, and everybody's just like, have you not been watching Star Wars since the very fucking beginning?
Isn't there a theory that space in the Star Wars universe has an atmosphere because you can hear sound, there's fire, there's like normal gravity?
That's one of the things. Like, it basically has just turned into, like, dude, it's Star Wars. If you want to make up a reason for how this stuff works, go ahead, but just suspend your disbelief, bud.
Get a hobby. Maybe.
Yeah.
It's in Star Wars.
Yes.
So yeah, no. I might try catching up with Star Wars in a few months. We'll see. We'll see how I'm feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think.
What about The Boys?
I was never into The Boys.
No?
No.
I was just talking about this with my partner because he was watching it, and I was like, can you tell me honestly if you like this show? Because that is one of those shows where every time I talk to somebody about it, I can't tell if they actually like it or not. I watched like the first couple seasons, and I will say it is a deeply unpleasant show. And I can't justify continuing to watch it, to be honest, because it's just not a fun time. So.
It is not. It is not a fun time at all. I really enjoy the show, but going back to something Aaron said, I think last episode, it's one of those things that I don't like admitting I like because it's a fandom that doesn't understand it's a parody.
Yeah.
It's a satire.
Yup.
Yeah. Yeah, my issue with it was never the fans at the beginning, at least. Obviously, fans can always ruin their own thing very quickly when they want to. But no, the main thing about it is just, like, I feel like this is just way too much emotional investment in anything, and, like, it's just draining to watch. I had the same problem with Game of Thrones, where it's just, like, I feel so exhausted just after watching an episode of Game of Thrones that, like, it's just, like, why am I going to subject myself to this?
It's probably a good move in hindsight, to be honest. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. You're not missing much with that ending.
That's what they tell me.
But I tried rewatching Breaking Bad recently, and I found that same thing where it was like I got 2 episodes in, and I'm like, this is heavy. I can't do this anymore.
Yeah. There's too much going on IRL all the time that I just can't consume that kind of content because I'm just like this. I'm already exhausted. I can't be exhausted by my media too. At least not all the time.
Yeah, my joke in college was just like, I live Breaking Bad every day. I don't need to watch the show.
True. You're making meth in your basement.
Yeah, in an RV in the middle of the desert boonies of Albuquerque near the Sandias, hanging out at the hot dog stand.
It's beautiful.
See if you could spot me in episode 1, season 3.
Oh, right, because they filmed at your school.
Yep, I was an extra on that episode.
Cool.
Nice.
I didn't know that. That's dope.
No, that was a lot. I remember specifically because the show hadn't gotten big yet. I was sitting next to my buddy. We didn't really know much about the show when we were there. And then, we're just looking, and it's Bryan Cranston, giving a speech to the whole, gymnasium after the planes collided. And, me and my buddy were just kind of sitting there just going, is that fucking Hal from Malcolm in the Middle?
Correct.
And, Aaron Paul was, hanging out on set, talking to people and everything. I was like, everybody on that show was always really, really cool. So, and they're very big in the Albuquerque community. So, it's, the show did a lot for the area, despite it being about, a teacher deciding to cook meth.
Mm-hmm. But don't you dare go to that house.
Oh, trust me, it happens all the time. There's still people to this day who show up at that house and trying to throw pizzas on top of the roof.
Yeah, evidently the people who live there are just furious about it.
Oh yeah, no, it's been a problem. Honestly, I was just like, you guys should really just sell this to a movie studio or something, or a touring thing, and just move out because dude, you're never gonna stop doing this. And people are always stopping to take photos in front of that house all the freaking time.
Oh my god, that's wild. How old is that show?
It's a little
2008.
Yeah, that's when I think originally premiered, and then it ended in 2013. 5 seasons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's over 10 years ago? Why are people still doing that? That's crazy.
Well, they have the spinoff of Better Call Saul, and they're talking about doing another one pretty soon.
Interesting. Huh. So I was looking at this list of the Xbox games again, just to see if I found any of them interesting, and I don't think I do.
Yeah, well, Emily, like I said, I sent Emily the Age of Mythology trailer this morning, and, she's basically, come September, I'm not going to be seeing my wife for God knows how long.
Well, it's nice knowing her.
Yeah, it's just yeah.
Well, yeah, you'll have a lot of free time.
What's that like? I don't remember free
I wouldn't
time.
know. No idea. Yeah, I'm not interested in any of these. And also, just let me take this opportunity to say, fuck you if you play Hogwarts Legacy, and fuck J.K. Rowling. And fuck TERFs in general. It's Pride Month. Trans rights. Thanks so much.
Yeah.
We're just going to keep hammering that home until Pride Month's over, and then we're just going to say it for the sake of saying it.
100%.
What's the Just Dance thing?
Oh, so that piggybacks off of something that we talked about previously, where basically they're bringing Just Dance to VR, and the person who was reacting to it is a Just Dance streamer specifically. She's actually got hired to be in the upcoming game. She's actually going to be in the game itself, but so she was reacting to it, and more or less was just kind of like, nobody wants this.
Nope.
Nobody has VR. Nobody does anything with VR. And she even polled her audience at the time, which is sizable than our audience, and she was just like, how many people are actually interested in doing this? And it was 88% said no.
We're gonna make the VR boys upset with us again.
Look, if we can,
interaction.
I was about to say, if we can maintain the VR lovers hating on us indefinitely, mainly that in the vein, let's go.
VR sucks.
I ain't paying money for that shit.
So dumb. And if you have one, you're dumb too. Fuck you.
Have fun, Zuckercucks. I sounded
We all
like
mean
Elon
this.
Musk on that one. I'm sorry.
Oh, I saw my first Tesla tank in real life.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God, it was so exciting, and I laughed so hard.
They
Oh my God.
They are genuinely the dumbest things. They are
It's
the
so
dumbest looking
embarrassing.
thing.
They're
It's
so much worse
awful.
in person. I've seen videos of them. I'm like, oh, they look pretty dumb. But seeing one next to my car, I was like, oh my God.
Because the videos and pictures of them don't make them look as big as they are.
They're
They-
fucking huge.
They actually look bigger than the dumb lifted trucks that you normally see on the road somehow.
110%, and it's fucking ugly. I was like, I can't believe you spent so much money on this dumb fucking car just to look like a dumb fucking idiot. I just don't understand.
How much you want to bet that Elon Musk is going to fund another Back to the Future movie just so he can have the DeLorean be the new, like the Cybertruck be the new DeLorean, specifically to do that?
I saw a TikTok about that. Someone was asking that exact question.
So he's going to do
Interesting.
it. I'll bet you money.
He has nothing better to do, let's be real.
Aside from destroying, Twitter from...
Yeah.
Well, and I'm interested, I think we've talked about this before, but I feel awful saying this, but like, what's gonna happen when that truck fucking kills somebody? Because it's absolutely gonna happen because there's
think it
no
already has.
crumple zones or anything. Has it already? Like a pedestrian?
I haven't heard that.
I haven't heard that. I remember seeing stuff on statistics though that like a lot of that Teslas actually have a higher rate of accidents because so many people are testing out like the autopilot like self-driving features of it that Tesla markets the hell out of, and reality it just makes it to where they're more likely to get into an accident because it's just like autonomous driving only works as everybody has it and it all communicates with each other.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, just...
Which I'm so down for that, to be honest. Not in a Tesla, but any other car.
Yeah, I want the Minority Report car where it's just like those big wheels and you get to go up a side of a mountain, just sitting, chilling, playing games on your phone.
I'm all for that because people are stupid and can't drive well, and that's why most accidents happen. But I will say, I meant with the tank or whatever the fuck. Pedestrians. I've seen a lot of information about just like the force that car running into a pedestrian, like they would be decimated. Like there is no surviving that.
Yeah,
and I'm just like, I pray that never happens, but I'm like, it's going to.
Yeah, and the angular design is actually an issue because the reason why so many cars have developed a more like swoopy sort of like curvature to their lines is because like things are more likely, if it hits something, it's likely to roll over it as opposed to get caught under it. An angular design like that is just like you get hit, you're going straight under or getting impaled.
When I hit the pedestrian he rolled right over the top of my car.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Seth
is the driver we're talking about.
Yeah.
He's our data point.
Get Seth a Cybertruck now.
And I will run it into the nearest pedestrian and tree. I'm going to smush them between it. It's going to be like that scene from Signs. Boy, I'm just rolling in references no one gives a shit about today.
It's what we're here for more than anything else. But yeah,
100%.
I think I've seen like 3 now in Northern Virginia, but that makes sense because there's a lot of people who have stupid amounts of money and make stupid decisions all the time out here.
Yeah, I'm in
There are
a
two
like,
near
pretty
me.
affluent. Yeah, I would say I'm in a pretty affluent area, but like it's like I've only seen one, and usually people have like actual nice cars. I think like there's a lot of BMWs and like things like that. And actually, I don't even mind as much like the regular Teslas, but man, I can't imagine. Again, how embarrassing! How embarrassing to like spend so much money on the dumbest looking car imaginable.
I feel like Teslas used to be like, at least when I first moved out here and I started seeing more of them, they were all very much like either you're like a doctor or lawyer type who had them, and then like a bunch once they got like the crossover, a lot of soccer moms had them. Now more and more just like your typical, like they drive like Civic drivers used to drive, where it's just kind of like, I have the fastest, zoomiest car on the road. I'm just going to be weaving in and out of traffic and being a total asshole. I'm just kind of like, when did this start happening?
Go off, King, I guess. It's crazy.
I still can't get over the fact that it's stainless steel, and they fucked up stainless steel so it's rusting.
Yep.
The thing that's not supposed to rust is rusting.
I could give you an entire rant about that. So stainless doesn't mean stain proof.
It's true.
So I used to work at a knife retailer, and so basically we had to like talk about like the rust resistance of all of our knives all the time. It's just like, so like certain stainless steels are true stainless, not stainless. Anyways, bunch of nerdy shit no one cares about. You know, our favorite topic.
Yeah.
Truly.
And stainless is already a bitch to clean.
And having a big ugly car about it, I don't understand. Just
Again,
crazy.
It's so funny because it was marketed as, you know, the future of trucks, and then it looks nothing like a normal truck, and the people who are buying them are not truck people, to be completely fair or honest.
Well, and the beds aren't big enough. It's a huge truck, but the beds aren't big enough to do anything with it.
It has zero practicality as an actual truck, and then like you've already seen like footage of them getting stuck out in like wilderness where people trying to off-road them and everything else like that. It's just like, come on.
It blows my mind because, like, it's ugly as fuck. There's no functionality. So you're only buying it because you can. And I'm just like, I love that. Again, I think I mentioned this in a previous podcast, but I'm so excited that we are getting away from, like, the opulence of wealthy people, because it's just like, man, they're so fucking stupid. Like, I just like, if I had that much money, I wouldn't buy a big, dumb, ugly truck. Like, I'm just like, I would get a nice apartment or something. You know what I mean? I'm just like, I'm so over how stupid wealthy people are. They control everything. That's not fair, and they're buying these dumb fucking trucks.
Well, here's what I'll say. Like, let's just keep making sure they keep going on submarine expeditions to the Titanic.
Yes,
because that seems to be like what's working best at this point statistically. I
love that. Please.
And if not that, just put them on a yacht. The orcas will do their thing.
Oh, yes. More orcas. Yes. More. That's what I'm very pro orca. I'm also pro, you know, shape-shifting monsters on every street corner, as we established earlier in the show.
100%.
Pro millionaires going on submarine
I just remembered narwhals are real. It's a magical animal.
That's very magical.
They're the unicorns of the sea, but actually exist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love that.
No, I legitimately forget they exist, and then one day a year, every year, I remember. And it's always a magic day, and that day was today.
Today is that day.
All right, well, we'll see you in 2025.
Yep.
Beautiful.
Oy.
Yeah.
Is that all we had? Is that everything?
That's all we have, so I guess the only kind of thing to bring up now is, Seth, you're on homework duty, so what's our next homework assignment?
I forgot. So, give me a second.
Well, last time you said Stargate.
I did say Stargate. But I tried watching it on Prime. Ads all over the fucking place. And it frustrated me, so I stopped.
Yeah.
I was thinking about maybe The Matrix.
Oh, that's an interesting one.
Yeah, there's a lot to talk about there.
I'm trying to remember the last time I watched The Matrix. That might have been like 2007 was the last time I watched it.
Oh, wow.
Probably same. Yeah, I think when I was in high school, we watched it for some reason. So
I think I watched the remake or the new one that they did on a plane.
The requel.
The requel. So yeah, no, I'm more than down to go back and rewatch the original.
Hey, yeah, let's do that. Because I actually really like the Matrix universe.
Oh yeah, no, it's very interesting. We could talk about like, you know, how they handled, you know, making a trilogy back in the day, and have that be a part of the conversation.
Yeah, and we can also talk about the trans allegory.
Yeah, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to Wachowskis. Yeah, so that sounds good. Anyways, I'm Aaron England. You can find me at TCK Media on most platforms. You got that Seth23, who you can find on the TikTokies and the Instagrams. And you got the Raccoon herself, Brie. You can find her on Instagram and occasionally Twitch. She also has her own podcast she does called Game Birds, where she talks about indie video games. So if you want a podcast that has more Brie and less me and Seth, definitely recommend it.
I think everybody wants that.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like, I get it.
That's actually our tagline. That's our advertising.
It's just like 200% less Seth and Aaron.
To be fair, I'm the only one who doesn't have a spin-off podcast.
Yet.
True.
Get to it, Seth.
I have an idea.
Well, I can't do it. Otherwise, it would just be a two white guys podcast, and there are plenty of those on the internet. We don't need a new one.
We can't have that. I legitimately had a friend who wanted to start a podcast called Two Straight White Men Talking, and I was like, you can't do that. You can't name your podcast that.
That is funny for exactly 2 seconds, and then that's it.
I mean, the SEO on it is great, though.
True.
Anytime somebody Googles 2 straight white guys doing a podcast, you're guaranteed to come up in search results.
That's a great point.
I had an idea for one, which is a friend of mine explains a topic to me, and I just interrupt her constantly, and it was A White Guy Interrupts a Woman was the name I pitched.
Good.
Thanks, Internet. Anyways, thanks, everybody. We'll see you guys next time.
Bye.
Scene.